Labor and the Coalition seem to be going tit for tat with quite a few of their election promises. Dutton, of course, said he'd match the government's $8 billion for Medicare, and now he's on board with a freeze on beer excise for the next 2 years. A schooner, can you believe it, can cost $15 in some Sydney pubs now. It is just
Where's the trigger warning for that?
Alien. So the PM this week announced a plan to freeze the beer tax if elected, and then the Coalition Treasury spokesman Angus Taylor jumped on it basically immediately. Now, the average price of a schooner of beer has gone up by 6.2% in the past 12 months and 10.5% since the start of 2022. The Independent Brewers Association says that around 21% of the full price of a full-strength six-pack goes straight to the taxman. But here's the thing. It won't change the price of a six-pack because this is for draft beer only. So the only way, Kel, that you can get your hands on it's not even a discount, it's just a freeze on the tax that they're charging. They're not going to index it like they do every 6 months, is if you go down to the pub. Meanwhile, if you go to a bottle shop to buy a beer or a wine or a spirit, you're still paying the tax. I mean, you know, they could have turned around and said, we're actually going to reduce the excise as it's gone up so ridiculously due to inflation in the last few years, but they couldn't do that, could they, Kel?
No. Well, in fact, can I just say I am old enough to remember the days when the afternoon tabloid newspapers after a budget said beer cigs up.
That's
right.
what
they always did.
Yep.
That's right.
The point is, I'll tell you how many people this is going to influence when it comes to voting. None. Not a single solitary person. Because the stuff that's really impacting on their budget, this has got nothing to do with this. You said it won't actually have much of an impact anyway, and a whole lot of pubs are not going to actually pass on any change, even with draft beer necessarily. You've also got the spirits people complaining that the excise on spirits is worse and unfair and it's not being touched. Why isn't the fuel excise being touched? Because that would affect everyone. We go to the supermarket now, it's about $50 per bag at the supermarket. This does nothing for what actually matters. We've had 7 quarters of a per capita recession. That is standard of living. Our standard of living is gone. Now, it makes a newspaper story for a little while, but if this is campaigning, if this is trying to win votes from the Australian public, it is not scratching where they're itching. It is a noisy, pointless exercise.
I actually don't
Why,
think
Joe,
that's
could he
true.
not have given us a proper cut to the...
Well, firstly, if the Coalition didn't think it was incredibly politically potent, why did they immediately match it? Like, just, yep, we'll do it too.
Well, it's a pretty easy...
They obviously know, yeah, and it's a no-brainer to match because they know it is effective. And it's not effective because people think, oh, great, I'll just get out my calculator and calculate how much I'm going to save, you know, the 6 cents I'm going to save on a schooner in 2026 compared to what it would have been if they hadn't have frozen the excise. But the reason why the headline Kel mentioned, probably the most famous Daily Telegraph headline of all time, beer cigs up, the reason why that sticks in the mind of every single politician and the reason why, you know, journos will tell each other the story of it down at the pub. It's up there with the flabbit, the flying rabbit, but another story. And why everyone has heard of it, you know, even though it was way before my time, is because that is the most potent expression of a greedy government squeezing the common man for every last cent that they can. So no one knows what else was in that budget. No one remembers what else was in that budget. They might have spent billions of dollars, you know, on life-saving surgery for orphaned kittens, right? But no one remembers that. All they remember is that beer cigs went up, and that means people think, yes, that dirty government trying to take all our hard-earned money that we want to spend just on the things that relax us, the things that make the world seem a better place, and they're coming for that too. And that is why, not only with this, but again, with, you know, this is why the Treasurer pointed out things saying this last quarterly increase in the beer excise will only raise it by, you know, X number of cents, whatever anyone else tells you. When was the last time you saw a Treasurer come and make an announcement like that about any other product? So
but don't forget that this government has put your beer up by 10%. You can't get around that.